Hey there, this is Ashley from Paper Tokens. If this is your first time joining me, hello and welcome. Today I'll be sharing a quick Valentine's Day card featuring a stamp and coordinating die set from Lawn Fawn's latest Valentine's Day release called Roar. I'll be starting with a 4 1/4 by 5.5 watercolor paper panel since I'll be doing ink blending with my Tim Holtz Distress Oxide inks. Since this will be a background panel, I'll be orienting it as if it was a landscape background with a sky and a ground. For the sky, I decided to use worn lipstick as the base color. To my left, you can see a stencil I was planning on using. That's the MFT Mini Cloud Mixable Stencil. I sped up my ink blending about 3 times the normal speed to help shorten the video. I blended worn lipstick until I reached where I wanted my ground to start. I took the stencil and used picked raspberry to stencil on some clouds. Then I took some twisted citron for my grass and used vintage photo as some dirt. I wanted to add a little interest to the background, and so you'll see me shaking a Ranger Mini Mister. It's filled with a small amount of Perfect Pearls powder and water. I spritzed my panel and allowed it to stay wet for almost 30 seconds. You can see that my paper is curling up. I used a paper towel to dab my panel to get rid of the excess water. And I'm left with some nice looking water drops. You'll see me flexing the panel to try and flatten it out the lazy way. I could have used my heat gun to speed up the drying process, or I could have ran it through my Big Shot. I don't think I'll have much of an issue adhering it to my card base later. I stamped the dinosaur from the Roar set onto 110-pound cardstock using Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink, which is safe for alcohol-based markers. I'll be coloring my dinosaur using Tonic Nuvo markers in 449, 451, and 453 for the pink hues of the dinosaur's body, and then 417 for the green spots on her. I ran the image through my Big Shot and set her aside. I used the stripy background with another panel of 110-pound cardstock and ran it through my Big Shot as well. Off screen, I placed very thin double-sided adhesive tape to the edges of this die cut panel in preparation for putting the card together later on. Also off screen, I made a card base. I used one of my Tombow adhesive tape runners on the back of the ink blended panel, and I adhered it to the card base. I don't know about you, but it takes me a while to make sure that I'm lining it up perfectly. And so you'll see me fiddling around a lot. And then I made sure to press it down real well. Then I took the time to peel off the backing of the adhesive tape to be able to place my stripy background as the top layer. As you can see, my watercolor panel had no problem staying flat, but if you notice that it is warped, then you could run it through your Big Shot, but I didn't feel it was necessary. You can see in this shot that I had a little bit of extra paper hanging off of the side, so I just took a pair of my scissors to trim it off. I could have ran it through my paper trimmer, but I didn't know if my paper trimmer would be able to do it accurately since there were already a couple layers. Off screen, I used the Lawn Fawn Scripty Word Die XOXO using some of Lawn Fawn's black cardstock, and I made a total of 3. Here's me holding up the beautiful Scripty Word Die. I glued the 3 together so XOXO had a bit of dimension and had the thickness of chipboard material. Earlier off screen, I put glossy accents over the whole word and let it dry in the sunlight as I was working on the rest of the card. I took foam tape and cut it into squares to place behind the sentiment XOXO. I know that there is clear foam tape, but I just didn't have it in my stash. It didn't bug me that you could see small parts of the foam tape sticking out. I know for some people they do not prefer that on their card, but for me it didn't matter. I was just using what I had on hand. So I'm peeling off the backing to be able to place my sentiment on the card. It takes just a little bit of playing around to see, okay, where do I want it? This is where I was debating if the card needed more embellishments, and ultimately I left it alone. But I suppose you could put ribbon or twine or sequins for added detail. And there you have it, this quick Valentine's Day card using Lawn Fawn products. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more crafty videos from me, you can subscribe to my channel. Thanks for stopping by.